Hello there, Servum 17 once again. This is my Devil May Cry triple S rank Dante Must Die walkthrough. This is mission 8, and you have to go back into this room to get the orb requirement on this level, because if you don't, you'll miss a large percentage of them. I believe, I could be wrong, but I think this is what it is. This was a 2-attempter, because I missed out on the orb category, so I came back here, and lo and behold, there was a ton of orbs to get, and that helped, and I got the rank, so that's what I'm going to call it from henceforth. Also, this is going to have probably the weakest boss fight in the game, as far as my performance, even though I think Credo is probably the most fun fight in the game. I just don't know how to fight him anymore. Like, I used to be able to stay on top of him and combo him and keep him stunned and do some fun stuff with him, like throwing the javelins back, but the timing on that is way, like, specific, and apparently I just don't have that anymore. So you're not going to see too much of that. But the first fight here is one of those parasite things and another one over there that just hatched with some standard scarecrows. I'm curious if you'll see it do its little jog. There's its jog, do you see it? It does this weird kind of sprint when it's going to go and infect somebody. So you want to kill it and then kill the people. But there you go. Nice quick fight. That was rare as well. I managed to get a max exceed off a streak. And streaking in this game is a really good move. It's essentially Nero's stinger. But the cool thing about it is it has a big horizontal range, so it can knock back tons of enemies. And when you play as Dante with just the standard stinger, I really miss the ability to crowd control with it. Like, Legendary Dark Knight mode, the one on the PC that has tons and tons of enemies, I reckon that mode is super fun as Nero, and then I reckon as Dante, it can be a bit frustrating. Because aside from, like, what's that sword called now? Is it the Devil Bringer? Nah, that doesn't sound right. The one where you use Yamato, like Dark Slayer or something. The Virgil sword technique, where he does the judgment cut. That's got a really wide radius on it. It's just, because you can't really control where he puts it, I've never really been the biggest fan of it. Like, if you could, I'm trying to think how it would work. Maybe hold the button, and then it lights up a pillar on the floor, and you could move it like an indicator, like a mortar drop on a first-person shooter. Something like that. But then again, it might be completely out of place on a Devil May Cry. Oh, something else I've not mentioned, which I perhaps should. Do you see how the door there has that crazy red webbing over it? That means that it's a mandatory fight. I know that sounds obvious to Devil May Cry players, but, you know, you might not be aware of this. Whenever an encounter doesn't have that, it means it can be skipped. And the more fights you can skip, if you're not comfortable with them, the better. The downside to this is you have to be more stylish in the ones that you choose to do. And sometimes that can be tricky, because you can compensate for lack of stylishness by doing more fights, but you have to compensate by being stylish to do less. And once again, it sounds obvious, but it's one of those things that's very easy to overlook. A great example of this is when you go through this level as Dante, the very first fight in it is a blitz. The blitz can be completely skipped. However, I'm not going to say he's easy, because I just don't think they are. Like, blitzers, to me, they're either amazing or they're hellish. There's no middle grounds. I either kill it without taking damage, and I do it really quickly because the distorted real impacts really hurt it, and then I finished it off with the Lucifer, and it was all beautiful, it died, and I got triple S's. If that doesn't work, I normally get very close to being killed, I finish it off with a D, I get no style points, and it's a giant waste of time. And it all stems from the fact that when you stun that piece of shit, it'll either stand there and let you beat it up, or it'll hop around like a retard on a pogo stick, and there's nothing you can seemingly do to stop it. Like, you knock it over, and it recovers, and as you're about to hit it with a real impact, it hops away. Like, the AI on that enemy is something that I've obviously never figured out, because when I play as Dante, landing that real impact on that enemy might as well be toss of a coin, because when it hits, awesome. When it misses, it's just a pain in the ass. And it has massive recovery, and you can't even swap to the Royal Guard and cancel out of it, because there's just too much recovery there. But Nero, blitzers with Nero, pretty damn simple. His charged gun is super powerful, and his ability to just chain grab them is also ridiculously powerful too, because you don't have to set them up, you don't have to keep them standing still for a period of time, you just shit on the face, and I like that. So I'm into the scatological stuff. But if you haven't noticed, I'm going around these awesome camera angle land to break the eggs, because the eggs give you orbs, and that's what you need to be smashing in this place to get your orb requirement. The problem with it is they blend in quite well. You know, sometimes the supers stand out and they're easy to spot, other times they're really not. Which I suppose is a testament to the game in some ways. It makes you look for it. And it's funny because when I'm not going for rank, I really like smashing those things and getting the orbs, and I really like finding them. But when you have to do it, I don't think it's anywhere near as fun, especially when you miss a ton and you feel like you didn't. Because if you're going to miss orbs in this game, it's going to be the ones where you have to stand somewhere and they magically appear, like on the first game. Look at that for detection. I go through a door when I'm fighting a frost when I don't want to, and then I'm arse-face up against a door and it won't let me in. So here we have Chimeran enemies. My strategy for these enemies is to shoot them with the gun. Shoot them with the gun to stun them, then hit them with a streak, and then run away. And then do that because that's what always happens. Very frustrating. But, yeah, I'm really cowardly against these enemies because I hate them. Charge the gun, get the exceeds, and then just, you know, kite them. It's pretty much all I do. You just got to be careful because the assault's so fast. Like, it's the most dangerous enemy on the game, by far, I think. Because the assaults themselves, they don't even have to be aggressive to hurt you. There goes that one anyway. So, get the revs back on, shoot the next one. You'll get stunned by the second hit, and then you can do the streak into the whatever the hell's left to get some more points and boost your style meter. Yeah, I've always hated these enemies. And I think you can probably skip this fight. But it's not a hard one, because of the way it's set up. But do you see that then? That's the passive attacks they do. In this game, Dante flinches a lot. I say Dante, even though I'm playing as Nero, you know what I mean. He also gets knocked over. The bosses knock you over all the time, and I never remember that. I never remember being knocked over. And I assume it's just my frame of reference right now is Bayonetta, where on Bayonetta, you get knocked back, but you very rarely get completely taken out of the action. The only time that happens is when you get stunned. And if I ever manage to have a conversation with anybody at Platinum Games, which hopefully in the future will be a thing, I'm going to ask, why do you persist on every game you release having wiggle the analog to get out of the stun? Who the hell thinks it's a good idea and who likes it? Because whoever it is, I'm going to really politely slap them in the face. And hopefully they're not like a black belt in anything and they don't break my head. I don't understand it. It's like the God of War mash the button to open things. In God of War it made sense because we'd never seen it, so it was this kind of cool thing of, I'm super mad, bash the button. But then everything started doing it. You know, Yogi Bear Simulator. Bash the button to open the honey. Like, no. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants a Yogi Bear Simulator, let alone one with such terrible opening mechanics. But that's all that games are now. It's this quick time fetish thing. And I think we're getting past it. I think we're evolving what it means to be quick time events, which is a good thing. Because, you know, from Shenmue to, is it Beyond Two Souls? Two very different approaches to quick time events over the time, but we still have those staples that never seem to go away. And I think I'm waiting for interesting quick time events, you know, ones that make them valid again. Because I do think that there's some life in it as a mechanic. I just think we got lazy. We got lazy and it became an excuse to have things happening much more exciting than anything that ever happens in the gameplay. And I think that's the biggest downfall of QTEs in general, is the fact that it's not necessarily the pedantic notion of just pressing those arbitrary buttons while a cutscene plays. It's the fact that it's just a cutscene. You know, it's not us. And what we're doing in that cutscene is what we want to be doing in the game. And hopefully with this, you know, new generation of hardware, we're going to bridge that gap of not needing cutscenes to do the things we wish we could do. And I think that's really exciting. Oh, I should mention there as well, you have to go the direction opposite your shadow. So whichever way your shadow is leaning towards, run in the opposite direction. It's kind of confusing, but once you understand what you're doing, you shouldn't have any issue with it. But this is the final fight before Credo, and it's a couple of assaults and a couple of scarecrows. And I actually quite like this fight. I shouldn't have done that because that's a full heal that you might need if you take damage here. Ooh, that's bad news too, you see that? Whenever the blades do that spin, you either need to buster them to stop them from doing it, or you need to jump high. Because they'll do 3 thrusts back and forth, kind of like the flying swallow. But they can be grabbed like I just showed then. And it's really funny. The first attempt through this level, I think all this was really nice and pretty decent showmanship from myself. You know, S ranks on fights and stylish action. And then you replay it and you just do absolutely shit. And then at the end you get the rank. It's that irony of a lot of it. And that's pretty much a ton of my footage right now. All the fails actually have interesting and fun looking fights where I look like I semi-know what I'm doing. And then the successes are some of the messiest, sloppiest stuff you've ever watched. And I could, you know, edit them together and make it seamless, but I don't think there's any real point. Especially now I've started sharing some of the fails, which I have a Sanctum fail that's coming, and I think I'm going to delete the rest of them because I could make far too many fail videos out of this project. It's kind of sad, really. But here is Credo. Credo's a baller. He has a shield, he has a big sword, and he's very fast. So, what do? You beat him up, and you avoid him. You know, it's that simple. There you go, video games. You can jump pretty much all of his attacks, if you know what they are. And whenever he gets stunned, you need to use that as an opportunity to combo into a grab. Combo into a grab to maximise on damage. And the thing to bear in mind is the further the fight goes, the more aggressive he gets. This fight's going to be semi-decent up until when he gets super angry and super aggressive, and then it's going to go bad really fast. You can avoid it going bad by playing better and keeping in control of him. This is a boss that if you can be reliable at getting close, stunning him, breaking his guard, throwing him, you can do enough damage so that he never gets chance to go nuts. Unfortunately, this is the first time I fought Credo in like maybe 6 years or something daft, however long this game's been out. And I couldn't remember what I was doing, so all of this is just reactionary at this point. Which, once again, should give people faith. You know, hopefully you've fought Credo a few times, so you know how he works. This is my second fight with him in a long time. That's him when he's stunned. There's his guard, there's the jump to get away. There's the launch, there's the throw. You know, we've got him at a decent life. He's still stunned, shit. Capitalise, Chris, get him! Oh, and I missed the air grab. That's really sad. Oh, and if you go into Devil Trigger, you'll obviously do more damage on your throws, which I don't think I've mentioned. But what I like to do is I like to do non-Devil Triggered throws and then Devil Triggered throws. And now he's on the ground stunned. I probably might be able to throw him again and finish him then. Yeah, I can throw him again. But it's not that really super good throw, which is a shame. He's also Devil Triggering, so this is when shit goes bad. This probably can be countered, but I took it on the jaw, which is not a good thing to do. Oh wow, I didn't know you could do that. I'm playing and I didn't know you could do that. But he gets really spammy when he Devil Triggers. Super spammy. So you want to be really careful. But just watch out for the teleports. Watch out for the summon swords as well. The cool thing is they work almost identically to the ones that Virgil summons, so I can use my Devil May Cry one. Actually, that wasn't too bad a fight, do I? I take that back. That wasn't that bad. I thought that was worse than that. The first one was bad, I think. That one was passable. I can live with that. But let's have a look how we did on the score sheet anyway. So 13 minutes. You know, you can be faster, you can be slower, I bet. It's probably quite lenient. 7,000 stylish points, that's really low, so you should be okay with that. 96% on the orbs, and boom, we get the SSS. Thank you very much for watching. You take care now.